2, 1, go. All right.
Oh. Cheers.
Cheers.
Love you.
Love you too.
All right. So Philotimo, I have no idea what the number is.
No.
We actually filmed another episode, which was
It was pretty good.
I thought it was great.
Yeah.
Like, okay, it was a good one.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that the microphone, I thought the battery in the microphone would never die. You know, I thought it would just last forever. Not the case. So we didn't have any sound. So
Unless you want to sit and like watch us do absolutely nothing.
yeah,
Right.
which
And did that one go for like 45 minutes too?
I don't know. It'd be kind of funny is if we watched it and then we talked
Over the top of it?
Yeah, just try to. That's actually one of the most enjoyable games I've ever played, and I think I've only played it once. And it was just on a whim. I was with some friends. I forget where we were. I think we were like in a restaurant or something. I don't know where we were. We were out in public, and there's a TV, and you couldn't hear what was going on. And so we each chose a character.
I've done this before.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so fun, dude. So fun. Just create your own story.
Right.
But okay, so topic of the day.
Yep.
And the whole reason I bring this up is because of a comment that you made in a different video.
Tell me.
So before I mention the comment, I will preface it with this.
Okay.
And the whole idea is, should you get married? Should you not get married? Like, should you want to get married? Basically. Okay. I'll just say, the comment you made was, because as everyone who's watching any of these knows, like, you were with a girl for a long time, divorce, and then you made a comment about how, like, yes, like, I do want to get married again. Like,
Yep.
Okay. So I'm going to start off doom and gloomy, and then I'm going to turn it to you.
Sure.
Kind of to bring it back, to bring it up. Okay?
I'll do it. Yep.
So I think most of us, from a very young age, we want to get married. You know, I think it's just in us. We want that life partner. You know, it's kind of almost
inherent in our nature.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we want this, and like we start off young, naive, optimistic, and then the older we get, we see the horror stories.
Sure.
And I think, based on personal experience, and if you just look at numbers, the good outweighs the bad.
Sure.
You know, I think it does weigh out the bad, and I get the divorce rates getting very high, but at the same time, like, I think we as a society are becoming far more immature and
More selfish.
more
in general.
gratification centric, far more selfish. So if you yourself know how to delay instant gratification, you yourself know, like, you've created within yourself a solid moral framework, and you can align with someone like that, I think your chances are much higher than the national average. I think.
Sure.
You know. However, you start to look at numbers. The older you get, you start to look at numbers. You see the horror stories. And this might not be completely accurate, but I read that negative emotions hold about a 40 times weight to positive emotions.
I've heard the same.
And that's simply for survival reasons. The things you like and enjoy have nothing to do with your survival.
Sure.
Like, because you don't need to be happy to survive.
Right. You just need to survive.
You just need to survive. So you need to pay attention far more strongly
to the negative things.
Correct. You know, and that's obviously for thousands of years, that's just in us. So that's just the way it is. So then you look at things like, and I guess I'm coming at this from a broad perspective, but I'll start off from the perspective of a man. Okay.
Okay.
So, but more importantly, it's about everyone. You know?
Sure.
So please don't frame your answer just towards males. Okay.
Will do.
You look at divorce rates, really high. Infidelity rates, pretty high. You look at fathers or husbands who aren't the fathers of their children.
Sure.
Pretty dang high. You know, of men who submit a query, 25% are not the father.
Sure.
That's astonishing. You know, you look at pretty much any statistic, and even though the majority is good, the percentages of the bad are kind of astonishing. You would think like, well, when I love someone and I believe they love me, like, it's so good. How could these stats be so bad? Especially if, let's assume that the high 90% of people, you know, the very high majority of people who feel the way that they and I do probably felt that same way going in. How did all these turn so bad? And, you know, and then you go through life, you date people, you get cheated on, you get used.
Sure.
You just see how easy it is to...
For something to go wrong, right?
For something to go wrong. You see how easy it is for something that you put so much weight and trust in to fail. And so you might say to yourself, is it even worth it?
Right.
There's these things I want, but I don't need. I can be very happy without them, you know. And I think I would be happier with them, but I can be completely fine without them. I don't know if I want to risk the pain and suffering that could go along with it. And now I turn to your comments.
Yeah. Okay. So thanks for setting the stage. Where do I want to start? So, yes, in one of our podcasts I mentioned, I would get married again. On top of that, I would add, marriage is worthwhile. So, let's take a step back. What is marriage, right? What is that foundation? What does that actually mean? Now, I'm not going to dive deep into, like, legalities and crap like that, because the state will call it one thing, like, religions will call it another thing. I don't care. My take on marriage is a man or a woman coming together to create one relationship. So, in that one relationship, you guys are stepping in and you're deciding, it's not like a death of self. It is a death of self in some aspects. You're going to lose your singular nature, right? So I just talked to somebody recently who's been in a relationship for 13 years and he won't get married. And that's just non-committal, not taking that step into, I want this to be the forever thing. It's like a lack of trust almost. So that's the nature of marriage. It's coming together to become one. So why would you want to do that? Well, primary focus would be, it makes you a better person if you allow it to. So we could probably all think of like marriages that we look at and we're like, why are you guys still married? Like, they're 35 years together and they don't even talk to each other. They go in the same room and like, yeah, they'll interact with you, but they won't interact with each other. And it's like sad to watch, right? Like, I think we can all imagine that scenario, and they're just stuck in it because maybe religion told them to, or maybe they just don't want to make another choice, or whatever that is. And we'll go over that concept. Then there's marriages where you look at it like, I think your parents, I think of my parents. It's like, yeah, there's hard stuff, and they go through it, but they go through it together. And what does that actually look like? Why would they do that, right? Like, so when you're facing all those difficulties, there's always the choice to step away. So, I was talking to somebody today about this topic, and the real breakdown is that relationships, and especially marriage, it is a choice to be married every day. Because you can wake up one day and choose not to be married. You can actively wake up and be like, I don't want this anymore. I choose not this. It is a choice every single day. So, what's the actual choice that you're making? Is it that I love this person? Is it that I'm happy with this person? Is it that they fulfill something for me? No. If it is those things, well, those will fail you. Like, they actively will fail you. Even love, right? Because I think our culture has broken down love into majoritively an emotional state. Majoritively, I feel this. I feel like I'm in love. Well, like, the Greeks have 4 different phrases for love, and I'm not going to go through them because I think we went through them one time. But there is multiple layers to love. And what is love? Love is patient, love is kind, love is not easy to anger. There's a whole verse on this, and I'm not going to requote it because I can't remember it offhand. But it's accurate. So our humanistic version of love is going to fail us, right? So if you're basing your marriage off of love alone, it fails you. So if love ain't it, which you should love them and you should work to be in love with them. As a preface, you may fall out of love. You may even like hate your spouse at some point. Again, it's a choice every day to choose, okay, maybe I don't like them today. All right, I'm going to let that be for the day. Tomorrow, I'm going to choose to move towards them, to like not hate them, to maybe I got to change something. Maybe I don't like the direction our relationship is going. Excuse me. But it's all a choice, and you need to choose it. So what is the choice that you're choosing, right? If you're not choosing love, if you're not choosing happiness or whatever minor gratification you have, what are you choosing? You are choosing the commitment that you've made, right? So when I went through marriage counseling, I had a dude sit down to us, and he kind of broke this down to us, like, love doesn't really matter. It matters, but like that can't be your anchor. Your anchor needs to be that I am making a commitment for better or worse, which is a vow you frickin' say. For better or for worse. No matter what the days throw at you, you're choosing, I will be married. I will commit to the thing that I said I would commit to. Like, I look at my relationship, and as we went through it, like, I don't mean any animosity, but I'm going to go through it. I brought this up. I was like, hey, we made, like, a commitment. It's like, you don't have to like me. You don't have to like the direction we're going. You don't have to like any of the things that we're choosing to do. That's not the point. We committed to do this life together. Again, combining into one relationship.
Yeah, and, like, quick little caveat. Like,
go.
Obviously, like, we should be working towards figuring out where we want to go and maybe change the direction, or like we should be working on better. And I know you're not saying that, but just to clarify, not just be like, shit's miserable and we're not changing it. We're not doing anything to change it, but we're stuck here anyways. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's a great point, because the aspect of when you realize, okay, if I am committed to the commitment, if that's my central, like, it's going to bug me when I think about this, but there's a tool that builders use to get the center point.
A stud finder?
No, it's like it's a dangling weight that gives you a straight center point.
Well, I don't know.
Doesn't matter. If it's not your central rod of, we will do this because we will do this, because it is the marriage, then say you are in that space, right? So everything else devoid of that is just circumstantial, and you can choose not to do it very easily. But if you've chosen to make that commitment, you still need to make that commitment every day. You can choose not to do it, but that's your commitment. Then you step into the space of, okay, if we do have problems, what do we do about that shit? It's like, you're going to get in fights. You're going to get in points where you do not agree with each other. Now, we were talking about this earlier, and we've talked about this in the past. That book, Love and Respect, if you have not read it, highly encourage it. Breaks down in the most simplest of terms, and I'm going to do it high disrespect. Seriously read through that. Men are essentially looking for respect in a relationship, right? And women are essentially looking for love in a relationship. If you cannot give each other that, what happens is you start to detach, you start to separate, you start to isolate, look at all the worst things. You can't see them for what they're worth. And the only way you break through that is you take a step back and you go, we are in a cycle of negativity. one of us needs to break this cycle. Otherwise, we'll just stay in this. So one of you, the man, would need to step in and say, I love you. Do something in the nature that shows love. Step in and do that. Or the woman would need to step in and say, I respect you in whatever aspect that looks like. But you do not get better until one of you makes that choice. And is that fair? No. Does that matter? No. Like a relationship, there's times when you're going to put 80% in, they're going to put 20. There's times where you're going to put 10% in, they're going to put 90. It's not equal. You're not looking to be perfectly equal all of the time. But I find that in our current state, we have a sense of culture that tells us, well, kind of what we covered at the beginning. Instant gratification, I need to be in love all the time. If I'm not this, then it's not satisfying. It's like, reframe that. Reframe that. What is your actual commitment? What are you doing? Do you choose to be with this person forever and grow and adapt? Like, you're not always going to be growing. You're going to have times of comfort. You're going to have times of shit that's not enjoyable. But do you come back to one? Do you continue to choose to do it every day? Because you can get 10 years into a relationship, 15, 20, whatever you like, any fucking time you can choose to not be in the relationship. And that is the problem. You need to let go of that. Choose permanently that you will be in it if you're actually choosing to permanently be in it. And commit to that. That's my breakdown of marriage in general.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's really good. I think that's really good. Really good. And yeah, like you said, I know I'm touching on one of the lesser topics. But like you said, like in the West, we have it so damn good that, like, if you, for example, if you look at the products we have, you look at a product you get from your grandfather, it's super heavy, it's made out of metal, every component is metal, it's gaudy, it's loud,
it's clunky and shitty,
but 80 years later, it's still working. You buy the exact same product with even more power. Now, it costs a lot, and it breaks within 2 years. It's a piece of crap.
Yeah.
Like, and the entire, just so much of our society is, we live in a replacement society.
Yeah.
It's like, you don't like it? Replace it. It's like, oh, that's broken. Can you fix it? Yeah, but I don't want to. Replace it. It's so easy. Oh, Amazon, send, it'll be here in 2 days. And we've talked about this before, I think that's just completely permeated into our mindsets regarding other human beings.
Yes.
It's like, can I fix this? Yeah, but that's going to be work and time. I can literally just Tinder, that, like, this just isn't, like, what's going on? Well, I just, I'm not happy right now. I could put the work in to like just deal with this miserable feeling for about 2 more weeks, and just every single day, they and I can get in these little conversations. It turns to a little fight, but we
chip away at it.
Yeah, we see that we are both willing, even though clearly neither of us are enjoying it. We're willing to just go back. And one of us isn't just like, is it good enough? Okay, I'm just going to forget about it. And then the problem's just sitting there. It's like, no, both of us like want to make sure that we kill this.
Yes.
Whatever this is, like, we are both fighting through the pain and the lack of enjoyment to make sure we kill this. And so you can do that, or you can be like, I just don't want to do it. You know what I mean? And I'm feeling a little, and then like that guy at work, he keeps hitting on me and I've turned him down, but like, I'm not going to fuck him. But like at the same time, I'm just gonna like let him talk nicely to me, just get a little satisfaction. And obviously it goes the same way with guys,
Yes,
obviously,
yes, absolutely.
Someone who I hold very, very dear just gave me a book along the lines of love and respect called Her Needs, His Needs, or His Needs, Her Needs.
Sure.
Phenomenal book.
Interesting.
I highly recommend people read Love and Respect, and I highly recommend people read this book. But the reason I used the example of when we go to the water cooler is because I read like 40 pages yesterday, and that was like an example there. So
Sure.
it popped up into mind, But it's, oh, dang it.
You're good, because what I took from that is, so there's an aspect that we need to choose every day, right? So we need to choose to be in this relationship. What does that actually look like to choose that every day, even on the days that you hate it? Well, how I would chalk it up is being disciplined enough to not disrespect the relationship.
Okay. Yep.
Go.
And to add on that, which was actually what I was, my whole summation was far too often we care about our happiness more than our word.
Than truth.
Than doing what's right. It's like, hey, and we all hate this when we've got, like, we feel bad when we do it. At least I think we should feel bad when we do this. But we've all experienced this probably many times, and we hate it when you talk to someone, let's say a friend, and it's like, oh, this and this, you want to do this? Yes. Okay, boom. And then you're like, okay, we made this plans, we made this agreement, and then it doesn't happen. And it's like, how come it didn't happen? Like, was it something wrong? Like, oh, I just totally forgot about it. I just ghosted you, or this and this, or I just didn't want to. You're like, You're like, I still very much care about you, but I don't really trust you as much as I did before.
Yes.
It's not a big thing. It's not a big deal.
No.
But, over time, times that, compound that over 5-10 years, what happens often, after 5-10 years, you're like, I really enjoy, when I see them, I thoroughly enjoy being around them. But if I need help with anything, if anything's really important to me, I know that I cannot call them, I cannot count, and it's just so important that, like, when we say, like, yes, I will do that, either do it, or at the very moment you realize you can't, come up with the closest thing, realize that, like, you are now causing an inconvenience to that person. It's no longer about you, and it's like, hey, I can't do this. I can do the closest thing possible to it. Is that good? Yes. And I think what the biggest problem is that people think, like, I can just replace it so easy. So you have that option. I can replace things so easy. And it's like, well, I'm not happy. It's like,
who cares?
It's like true.
Sure.
Neither are they.
Right.
But you said you would, and they said they would, and it's just a lack of commitment. And I don't mean commitment in the sense of fidelity. And now, being faithful is a part of commitment.
Yep.
But commitment is, it's like, I agree, like, from what I know of you, I agree to be like, obviously I'm going to be myself, but at the same time, you're you, I'm me, and then we have this, and I agreed to this with you. And by agreeing to this with you, based on what I know about you, I agree that you need these things. This is what you need. And I agree that by you saying, hey, I will come into this and I will be faithful, I'll be committed to it, I'll be there for you. Since you're making that commitment to me, I, in return, because I care about you as a human being, but also because I said I would, will therefore look at what you need. And regardless, like, you say something and it's like, hey, this is really important to me. I know I probably shouldn't think this way. I don't want to think this way, but you know what I've been through in life, and this is something I need. And then, as opposed to being like, looking at, like, how does it affect me? Like, well, I can't, it's not about me. It's like, oh, you're right. I do know what you've been through.
Yes.
And you're right. You shouldn't be thinking that, but you are thinking that, and I can see that you don't want to think that, but you, if I have any sense at all, I realize that you will continue to have that in your mind for eternity, unless I, as the person who agreed to be the one to put those to rest, actually take the energy to put that to rest. And here's my whole point.
Yeah.
The problem is people don't stick by their word. They want what they want when they want it. They put themselves before others, really.
Right.
You know, there's selfishness.
Yes.
And I think the way you have to get around that is some of the best advice I ever got was from my father. And he said, if you are getting into a relationship as the man, you decide, and he quotes the Bible all the time. He says, you die unto yourself.
Yes.
Meaning it is not about you. You are a servant. He's like, you need to lead that household, and not lead as a dictator or an authoritarian, but lead in the sense, and as far as I can tell, every time I see people who I deem like, wow, that was a great leader. And what is a leader? A leader is someone who has followers. You know, they don't have servants, they don't have subjects, they don't have slaves. They have, what a leader has is people who say, I choose to follow you because I trust you. And what all those leaders have in common is they do what's best for others. And those people see that and they say, he puts others first. He would rather be down in Malibu shooting around a golf. That's what he'd like to be doing right now. And he has the time and resources to do it, but instead he's helping him move. He's taking his kid to the soccer game. He's helping his wife like business. You're a servant.
Yes.
And I think, we as individuals need to realize, if I'm agreeing to this, what I'm actually agreeing to is being a servant, not a slave.
No.
Now, I'm not going to get walked on and take advantage of.
No.
But I'm giving myself to this.
You mapped that out real well, by the way.
Cool.
Yeah, no joke, you did. I was struggling for a few minutes there. I was like, I get where you're going. Yeah, that's fine. But where you just ended right there, paramount. The concept is, I am second. Our culture today does not speak that.
No.
And I understand why it does. I get that there's a lot of people that have been abused and they have a lot of issues and it's hard to deal with the mental struggles that we have. But if you want a fulfilling life and relationship, this is marriage, this is other relationships too. You are second.
Yep.
It is.
And you're not getting taken advantage of.
No.
And it's both of your responsibility as just good human beings, but also as mates.
Yeah.
To not take advantage of the other person. To not use and mistreat the other person. But please continue.
No, yeah, you're good. So, and like your dad, I quote the Bible all the time. So there's a chunk where a rabbi asked Jesus, what is the most important things to do in life? He said, love God with all your heart, which that makes sense. The second one is love your neighbor as yourself. So you can extrapolate that on frickin' anything, but it is to love others. It's not love me. It's not, I need to learn how to love me. It's sure, that's fine. Understand what you need in life, but love others. How do you do that? You sacrifice your time, your entity, all that you have for others. It's not to be burnt out. It's not to blow yourself down. It's just to give what you have to others. So marriage being the most paramount relationship, you give what you have to that. You do not hold. You do not hold.
Yep. It's not love others more than yourself.
Right.
You're not allowing yourself to be taken advantage of. But it's also not love others, but not more than yourself.
Right.
It's
just love others.
Yes. It's and that's the thing is I need to love myself, and you can't take advantage of that. I'm not going to let you use me, but at the same time, I'm going to realize these are things I need, and these are so important to me, but you also have those, and I need to treat that the way that I would want to be treated.
That's accurate, dude.
Good?
Yep.
Love you.
Love you.
Thanks.